Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Could everyone please silence your cell phones? If you will, please open your hymnals to the front, and we will recite the Unity Statement of Being. There is one presence and one power in this church, in our lives, and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. And now the 5 unity principles. Number 1, God is absolute good, everywhere present. 2, God lives in us, therefore we are inherently good. 3, we are co-creators with God and create our experiences through our thoughts. 4, prayer is creative thinking that heightens our connection with God mind. And 25. It is not enough to simply know these principles. We must live the truth we know. Thank you. And now if everyone would please stand, and we'll sing the Lord's Prayer on page 2.
This is our time of going within. Where we take time for spirit. Where we lay everything aside. Whatever we've been dealing with. Whatever thoughts we've been entertaining. We allow these things to be frozen. As we go within and take time out for connecting, for creating connection with the highest part of our being. So I invite you to get comfortable as you gently close the door. Relax. Allow your consciousness to move inwards. We concern ourselves less with the external. We focus our attention more on the vibrance, the innermost world of the internal. For here is where the real you lies. Here's where there are entire regions of yourself to explore, discover, learn about. Here's where transformation takes place. Where all the wisdom of the universe can be experienced from the central aspect of you. For in truth, it is not what is, but what you experience it to be. And from that experiential place, there is a vantage point, a way of seeing that is exclusive to you and you alone. It is this vantage point that is within you that yearns for expression. It is this vantage point that is necessary. It is from the place of knowing thyself that all abundance flows. So I invite you to be still and experience the magnificence that is you. If there be any random thoughts that are vying for your attention, just simply bless them in recognition that they serve a purpose. And while they serve a purpose, your intention is to take time out for the higher you, for your source. For part of you that knows all things. The part of you that you may simply send a query. By sending that query, set things in motion that will bring about the inevitable answer. For nothing will be withheld from you. All things are given freely. You only possess the willingness to understand and experience. Such is the case with divine beings. words of divine and human. Experiencing a life of purpose and meaning. Where all things you experience serve to raise you up, expand your consciousness, expand your way of seeing, experiencing, understanding. All things serve to bring you to that higher vantage point. You may see things from a renewed perspective. It is experiencing things from this renewed perspective that has brought you here today. To experience tools, practical tools, which to utilize on your journey, your beautiful journey. To experience new insights, new realizations that will serve you on your journey. For we are all on a journey. Recognition of this that I ask you to join me. Join me in intention. For it is my intention to bring forth a new message. One that will serve and assist us in our journeys. Message that has not been expressed before. A message that propels us in new directions. We will experience new ideas. Renewal of consciousness. So I ask you to, in your mind's eye, visualize the end result. And in the end result, I ask you to visualize experiencing these new insights, new realizations. I invite you to not concern yourself with the how these things will come to pass. I invite you to focus your intention on the destination, where we desire to be in consciousness. We will experience tools to assist us understandings, new realizations, new awakenings. I invite you to hold that intention in your consciousness. What emotions, what feelings would you feel upon experiencing these things, upon experiencing new awakenings, new realizations? What joy, what excitement, what gratitude would you feel? I invite you to feel that joy, excitement, and gratitude right now. See it with your mind and feel it with your heart. What we are doing is sending coordinates to spirit, where we desire to be, or what we desire to experience, letting go of the how, and what words and ideas and interpretations will take us there, just allowing spirit to be the vehicle to bring about its fulfillment. So this is an intention, and this is a trust, and this is a faith. This is a manifestation. Know that it is done. For where two or more gather together, everything is possible. And Spirit answers all intention. Spirit answers all prayer. So I invite you to feel grateful. Truly grateful for answered prayer. Knowing that Spirit has you. Knowing that Spirit and the universe understands exactly what you desire to experience. So I invite you to give thanks for that which is already done, for that which is already answered and made manifest, and what we are about to experience. Let us feel this gratitude for answered prayer in the name and after the loving nature of our source, of Spirit. And so it is. Amen. Would everyone please take out your hymnals and turn them to page number 322. And please stand when we will be reading or singing, I am free, I am unlimited. And so there's one version that's in the hymnal. We're going to sing it in three different ways. We're going to do the original version, I am free, I am unlimited, but then we're going to sing it over again where we're going to sing, you are free, you are unlimited, and then the third time we're going to sing it, we are free, we are unlimited. Everybody ready? Okay. So, how's everybody doing? All right, welcome back. So, are we ready? Okay, all right, here we go. So, the name of my talk is Seeds of Abundance. Seeds of Abundance. So this month is Abundance and Prosperity Month. And so we're going to explore abundance in all of its forms and in the hopes that we can expand our capacity for experiencing more of the abundance that exists. You know, I often say that each and every moment contains abundance, that there is abundance that exists in each and every moment, but oftentimes we don't experience it, or sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. You know, each moment has an opportunity. Every moment that we experience, there is an opportunity. And sometimes we see these opportunities. Sometimes we can see these opportunities clearly. And other times, we don't recognize them when they're staring us in the face. So this is going to be a talk where you reflect, because there's going to be some key questions that we're going to have. There's going to be two key questions. And so the first key question that I'm going to ask is, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? You see what you are actually seeing has more to do with what's in consciousness than anything in the external. As a matter of fact, the external has about maybe 20% of what you actually experience, has to do with 20% possibly of what you experience, where there's an 80% that's interpretation, where you're interpreting. 20% is what's actually going on. 80% is what we're interpreting. That's a huge difference right there. Huge difference. And so because of that, you know, as is the case with that, you know, our brothers and sisters, you know, some of us are more able to see that abundance and some of us are not. Now, we all have the ability to see it, but at the same time, I ask this key question again: what are you seeing? See, what are you seeing? Because see, what you're seeing actually determines the possibilities that you actually see for yourself. What you're seeing actually has more to do with the ideas that you actually have for yourself than anything else. So, what do you believe about yourself? So now we're talking about programming. What are you recognizing in this moment? Are you seeing abundance or are you seeing a wasteland? What are you seeing? What are you experiencing? You see, because the things that we experience, see, all these things have more to do with the constructs. And these constructs have to do with our ideas. So, there are ways that we can program this construct, but we're going to talk about it for the rest of this talk as the construct. The construct are the things that we experience in consciousness. It is a matrix of understanding that we have as far as ideas about what we can do in any situation and what's possible for us and how we can achieve those possibilities. Also within this construct are ideas as far as why we are the way we are, why things are the way they are, or why we are the way we are. So that's the first key question. And I invite you to ask yourself that. What are you seeing in each and every moment? The next key question I would ask you to invite you to ask yourself is, what are you being? What are you being? What energy are you creating?
You say words and things, and that they're so powerful.
What story are you telling yourself?
Turn to for comfort.
Love. And again, see, I think love is that condition in the human spirit so profound.
What story are you telling yourself? What justifications do you have for these stories that you're telling yourself? What energy are you creating? See, these are important questions to ask. And this is all about a journey where we are going to experience how to experience more abundance that lives in each and every moment. But that's up to you, see, because we're co-creators with God. We create our experiences through our thought. Unity principle number 3. So, in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verses 37 through 38, it reads, "Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and put onto your lap. For what you give is what you give back." So, our elder brother Rabbi Yeshua, he was big on thoughts, even though, it was really pushing his disciples really to their limits, because they were still focused on doing, and as far as the idea of doing and what we're doing and stuff like that. He was like, no, if you're just thinking it, it's still the same thing. And so that was so far beyond them at the time that they, really, to be honest with you, it's like beyond many of us, and it's 2,000 years later. And so, and so we began to get ideas about that, like, as far as like if we put out some energy, it's gonna come back. And so that was an older way of looking at that. So I'm here to tell you, no, as soon as you create that energy is there. It may take a moment in time and in space-time for you to actually experience, but that energy is there. That thought energy is there. So, negative judgment does so many things. And I'm not going to go too deep into what negative judgment does, but I am going to talk about the basic principles of it. And I'm going to talk about it as if talking to the separate minds, as far as the minds are separate, because in truth, there's only oneness. In truth, we are all one, in truth. But many of our personalities don't jive with that. Many of our personalities, even though we may aspire to want to experience oneness, we're afraid of it because we feel like we're going to lose our individuality. So I'm going to speak to everyone as they're speaking to separate consciousness. And so, when we are holding these thoughts, see, we have these ideas that these thoughts, because we have what we think in our mind as other targets for these thoughts, like, for example, this person or that situation or whatever, these other targets, we think that it has no bearing, no impact on us. We have this idea that, it's not going to impact us because, we're talking about this person. We're talking about that situation. We're talking about that other thing over there, not me. But see, what we're not taking into consideration is, see, these thoughts stay in our consciousness. It's in our consciousness. It doesn't go to this other person's consciousness. It doesn't go to that situation. It doesn't go to any of those things. It just sits in our consciousness. And this thought has an energy. So regardless of whether you think that the target of this thought is this other person, a person that experiences the full experience of whatever that thought is the one who is holding it. The one who is actually holding the thought. And it works even if it's a positive thought. If it's a positive thought about one of your brothers and sisters, about a situation, things like that, it works the same way. You're the one that's holding the thought, you see? Even though you have this wonderful idea of this person, this person is just wonderful. I just love this person. This is expressing love for yourself. It's not going to that other person. It's going to you. Same thing the other way around. With negative judgment and anger and things like that. So we're the ones that hold it. So this is energy we're talking about. Just pure energy. So this is about giving us an understanding of the basic principles of energy, of thought energy, so that we can be more mindful of the thoughts that we're thinking, so that we don't just miscreate or be irresponsible with our thoughts. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what this talk is about. about teaching us how to experience more of the abundance that's already there. But see, when we're so busy judging and condemning and things like that, what that does is, these are contracting energies. What they do is contract. They contract. They make us smaller. When we begin to think small, we begin to think in smaller spaces, we begin to think small. The other way around, as far as the positivity and love and compassion, these are expansive energies. They're expansive energies. We begin to think in larger spaces, larger ideas begin to express because our consciousness begins to expand. And so now new things become possible. And that's just a simple explanation of the energy and how it impacts. But, I'm also going to talk a little bit about judgment, because judgment does something else as well. Negative judgment also does something else, because what it does is it narrows the playing field. It narrows the playing field as far as what we can actually experience, because see, it doesn't take into account the whole. The whole. You see, not everything is meant to not everything that is abundant is going to feel good. Not everything that is abundant is going to be comfortable. But when we have these ideas, these narrow ideas as far as what abundance is, and because based on comfortable or comfortability, or based on how it feels, whether we're getting our serotonin or not, we miss out on so many areas where we can actually experience abundance. Rabbi Yeshua, he wasn't a wealthy man. Financially, he wasn't a wealthy man. But he was the most wealthy individual in first century Palestine. Because his consciousness was abundant. It was so abundant, he was talking about a kingdom of heaven. And it was so far beyond everybody else. They were like, what is he talking about? And he was experiencing it. And so his abundance wasn't rooted in external trappings, and it wasn't rooted in any type of particular type of situation or anything like that. And so, he is not like an exception. Okay? We all have this ability. We all have this ability to experience more abundance regardless of what we're experiencing in life. Life is meant to have moments where we grow and where we rest. And it seems like we're more preoccupied with the resting moments, with the moments where, we see the sunsets and the sunrises and all the little things that we've been programmed. This is all programming. We've been programmed to identify these things as abundance. But abundance is not that narrow. It's not that narrow. Guess what? You're not that narrow either. See? You're not that narrow either. But when you're conforming to these narrow ideas, see, it narrows the playing field where you don't even recognize the many abundant aspects of who you are, because you're narrowing the playing field of what you think abundance actually is. And so you're not recognizing yourself. Because there's parts of yourself that don't fall in these neat and tidy little categories and things like that. Like the world wants to have you think. Like the movies and the TV shows want to show you what their idea of abundance is. No, it's not about that. Abundance is everywhere. There's always an opportunity to experience abundance. And in some of the most difficult places, like even loss of a loved one, there's opportunities for abundance. Even when you've lost someone that is near and dear to you, there are still opportunities that will exist, that will show, that make themselves known to you. Opportunities where you can experience, where if you follow these opportunities, you will experience true meaning. And I'll give you a hint. Opportunities come from helping people. Opportunities come from being there for people. Opportunities come from being a support and uplifting people. So, Even in a situation where maybe we have an agenda, we want to experience this, and this is something that we want to experience, and don't even talk about it if time becomes a factor, we feel like we're running out of time, then we really become like focused on this agenda as far as like, I have to get this, I have to get this. And so we discard so many forms of abundance that are right there, that are waiting for us to experience them so that we can just see just how abundant we actually are. So abundance is not in the past, and abundance is not also in the future either. Abundance is right here, right now. There's something going on right here, right now that's calling your attention. A greater way of seeing something, a greater way of experiencing something. And see, when you are, and I want to get into this scripture, because see, this scripture, as far as the thought energy that we create, is all part of the programming of that construct that I was talking about when I asked, what are you seeing? Being open to new forms of abundance is all part of the reprogramming or reinterpretation of that construct when I said, what are you seeing? See, that what are you seeing is basically the world that's been created by the programming. What are you recognizing? See, that's the world that's been created by the programming. But what are you being? What stories are you telling yourself? See, that's actually how you're programming that construct now. That is the interface to that construct. That is how you are actually either experiencing a healing or you're traumatizing yourself. Through the programming of that construct, through the energy that you're being mindful of your thoughts, the energy that you're creating. So now we're talking about the life of a metaphysician, and everyone here is a metaphysician. That is the aim in this church. That is what the Fillmores were. They were metaphysicians. And so they were, all their books and all their teachings were about metaphysics and being metaphysicians. And understanding just how our thoughts impact everything that we experience. In Proverbs it talks about, be careful what you think, for your thoughts run your life. Your thoughts run everything in your life. And so many of us are on autopilot, where we're just watching a movie, eating popcorn, and getting happy on some of the scenes and angry on some of the other scenes. And not necessarily being proactive as far as being the one that's actually creating the scene, because you are the one that's creating the scenes. But if you're just going based on what's already in your consciousness, then you're just basically going on with what's already in your consciousness. And what's in your consciousness and what you recognize is just going to be the things that you have here. So, everybody with me so far? Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the question is, how can we be more adept metaphysicians? How can we take control and be manifestors of the abundance that's already your birthright? That's your inheritance. Well, anybody who's ever seen any one of my talks knows where I'm going to go first. Meditation. Meditation is the first stop. It's the first thing as far as reeling those thoughts in. Getting more control over those thoughts, not letting them run around like little kids, little unruly children. Being silent, taking time out in the silent and listening to the superior intelligence that's in the silence. Just listening. Just listening with no agenda, just listening. Just taking time to listen. Wisdom comes from listening. Listen. And we're not talking about listening to anybody else. We're talking about listening to the communication that's already taking place with you and your higher self. And then you will begin to be more aware of some of the stories that you're telling yourself. See, oftentimes we tell ourselves stories, and we get so used to the stories that we're telling ourselves that we don't even think about it. We don't even think about the stories that we're telling ourselves. But the stories that we're telling ourselves is part of the programming, is how we're programming that construct of what we're experiencing. So it's important to be mindful of the stories that you're telling yourself. Perhaps you're telling yourself that you're not lovable. Perhaps your story is something different. I would invite you to be mindful of the stories that you're telling yourself. I would invite you to be mindful of your thoughts. Be careful what you think, for your thoughts ruin your life. Proverbs. Seeing more abundance comes with cultivating that abundance in consciousness. Cultivating it within you. One of the greatest ways of cultivating that abundance within you is by focusing on gratitude. Yeah, everything may not be like you want it to be. But when you can focus on what you're grateful for, see, that's an expansive energy. See, that's going to reveal more to you over time of things to be grateful for. See, the larger your consciousness expands, the more possibilities that you begin to experience. The more possibilities you see for yourself. Now, you're co-creators. One of the ways you can co-create as far as expanding consciousness is with gratitude. A steady diet of gratitude. Of choosing, making a choice. How you want to, what type of energy you want to experience or express in this particular moment. Where do you want to focus your attention on? Do you want to focus your attention on this idea of what you don't have? Or do you want to focus your attention on what you do have? Each one is going to create a different experience for you. See, when you focus on what you don't have, the Fillmore's already taught that. That's creating more lack in your life. That's what they taught. When you're focusing your attention on lack, you experience more of it. And your consciousness begins to contract. Same principles. We're talking about the principles of energy. And we need to get these principles down because next Sunday, I want to come with some more advanced things. So we gotta get this right now. Right now. Principles of energy. Knowing that our thoughts have nothing to do with anybody else. They have everything to do with us. And see, we would know that more, but we also justify things. We also create justifications. That's like another way that we program. So it's like, it's okay for me to judge because I'm right. It's okay for me to say this or whatever because that person is wrong. But guess what? It's going right in our consciousness. Right there. It's not going to that person at all. It may be impacting that person on a collective level because the more we do this type of stuff, we kind of drag the whole collective down. Like some bags. See, everybody's doing their part in the collective consciousness. Okay? Some of us are helping to raise it, and others are just sitting there on it. And that's just natural. But gradually, as time goes by, it is raising. It is raising. And you know something? I'll say something else. Our younger generation, like, every time we have a new generation, they come on a higher level. They're coming in here with higher consciousness. So gradually we are moving towards, as far as humanity is raising its consciousness. Gradually. Painfully. Building a relationship with spirit. That does wonders as far as showing you that you're not alone. If loneliness, if you feel like you're lonely, building a relationship with spirit to show you that you're not alone. Many of our brothers and sisters have, they deal with loneliness and they're afraid of being alone and things like that. But I invite you to discover wholeness within you. To discover your own wholeness. Begin to experience yourself as a whole person so that you don't encourage any codependent relationships. Discover that you are perfect just as you are right now. Building a relationship with Spirit helps with that. As you begin to perceive, there's this presence, and this presence is the greater you. It's the invisible you. It's not any alien or anything like that, any outside presence. It's the greater you. It's a you that sometimes you don't pay attention to, so you feel lonely. But you're not alone, because you got this greater presence right there. It's right there. It's right there. Building a relationship with Spirit. Prayer. There's something that you're dealing with, prayer is the way to do it. You know, prayer is like, it's like a wild card. You know, it's like a wild card. You know? No matter what you're going to do, prayer finds a way. So, those are the 4 basics. Now, I would also say a willingness to trust in Spirit. Because when you trust in Spirit, you know, it removes a lot of the fear that would otherwise create dissonance in your consciousness where you're not actually seeing the abundance, you know, because you're afraid of this, afraid of that, things like that. So you're too busy being afraid to look for anything abundant. If you trust in Spirit, you trust in Spirit as your protection, trust in Spirit as your source, so you're not afraid of losing anything, losing external things, understanding that your source comes from Spirit. And no matter what door closes, the Spirit's going to open up another door. No matter what, you know, channel closes, the Spirit's going to open up a new channel. So you become less dependent on these individual channels and thinking that these individual channels are just the greatest thing or the end all be all. And so you become more centered now. It does a lot as far as finding the abundance that's already there. These are basic principles. But after that, you know, I would say, you know, the next thing I would say is be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of your thoughts, and it's a 2-part thing. A willingness to be mindful of your thoughts. And the next thing I would say, after a willingness to be mindful of your thoughts, is a willingness to reinterpret some of the negative ideas that you actually have, some of the negative thoughts that you actually have. A willingness to reinterpret it. And I'm going to show you about reinterpreting right now. You know, because we all judge. We all judge. We're master judges. All of us. We're masters at judging. One thing we're master at is judging. Okay? And, you know, I even remember just recently my partner, Claudia, was here. And so, you know, she was talking about something, and I was perceiving that she was being judgmental about a friend. So I was judging her, judging somebody else, you know? So it's like, you know, I was just that quick. I was judging her, you know? It's that easy. You can fall into it that quick, you know? Or all of a sudden I'm thinking about correcting her as far as her judgment, and I'm sitting up here judging her, you know? And I even said it to her. I said, you know something? I'm sitting up here judging you, judging what's the, you know, this person. Yeah, it's that easy. It's that easy. But being willing to reinterpret these things, you know, by creating these new understandings that, you know something, we're all doing the best that we can. We're all doing our best with what we know. We're all on a perfect journey. See, these things will help reinterpret these judgments that you actually have about what you think somebody did or what you think they said or whatever. We're all doing the best we can with what we know. As we learn, we make new choices. We make better choices as we learn. You know? And see, this same type of compassion and reinterpretation will be huge as far as dividends for you. Remember, you know, forgive and you will be forgiven. Because, you know, we've heard so many times, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for us. If you're so busy focusing on or keeping an accounting of what this person did, you're not in a good space. You're not in a good space at all. So a good way to reinterpret so that you can actually get to the point where you can actually move on past this and experience the abundance that's here in the now, not live in the past, is just by creating little programs, these little rewrites, as far as, you know something? This person was doing the best that they could. Many times I've done the best that I could. I've made many mistakes. Many mistakes. And guess what? I was doing the best that I could. And once I learned these lessons, once I learned and things like that, once I learned about the mistake, well then at that point, there's no need to do it again because I understood what the outcome of it was at this point. But at the time, I wasn't at that consciousness that I'm at now. I didn't have that vantage point of actually making the mistake. So learning how to reinterpret these things for your brothers and sisters, learning how to reinterpret these things for yourself will be huge. Where you experience gradually a shift in abundance, where ideas that you once had that were once shadows, where they now are transformed into light. You can reinterpret anything without even having to make up anything. You can reinterpret it. Now, going back to energy, I would say the next thing would be a willingness to cultivate in yourself that which you desire to experience. This is very important. Every single one of these things is important, but a willingness to cultivate in yourself, cultivate that energy in yourself, that which you desire to experience more of. You want to experience acceptance? Begin to accept yourself. You want to experience compassion? Begin to be compassionate with yourself. You want to experience more love? Begin to be loving with yourself. See, as you cultivate these things, as you begin to focus on treating yourself and giving this love and cultivate this within yourself, you become a greater expression of these same things that you are cultivating in yourself. As far as as far as being mindful of how you're treating your brothers and sisters, how you're treating the situation. Is it as you think it is? Remember, everything that you say about this person, you're going to experience it because it's going to sit right there in your consciousness. Are you sure you want to think that? You sure? Are you sure? You know? If you really knew this, they're not doing anything. I mean, the only way you're going to really impact this person is if you call them up on the phone or whatever and say whatever, this is how I feel or whatever. But other than that, the thought is really yours. The thought is really in your head. So it's really impacting you. Regardless of the target. Regardless of who the recipient is. Doesn't matter. It's still being held in your consciousness. And thoughts do not leave their source. And we have this idea that, somehow our thoughts can somehow leave out of our head and go and be in the recipient's or the target in their head. No. They don't leave our head. They stay in our head. And so we're just building up this energy of dissonance. But we can do the same thing in the other way as well. As far as being loving, giving. To give people the freedom to express as they are. That's a freedom that you give to yourself. To express as they express, to give them the freedom without you trying to be a dictator of how they're supposed to be. To allow them to express exactly as they express and know that they're on the perfect journey. You may not agree with it, but at the same time, this is not your journey. This is not your journey. And so you're not qualified to say how they should be, how they should express. You're not even qualified for that. You haven't walked in their shoes. There's nothing that you didn't grow up in the environment that they grew up. You didn't have the teachings that they taught. You don't even have the experiences that they experience as far as them being them and what they're dealing with. You do not have a right. And in understanding that, and say, hey, I love you regardless. I love this person. I love my brother regardless. I love my sister regardless. I don't understand it. I'm not going to sit up and pretend like I understand. I don't understand it. But guess what? They're on the perfect journey. This is how you reinterpret things. This is how you give freedom to your brothers and sisters and give freedom to yourself. Because you need that freedom too, you see? Because every time you're condemning your brothers and sisters for any type of thing, you're doing the same thing to you. So it's important to keep these things in mind. But as you begin to really learn about being a metaphysician, that you truly begin to grasp and become adept metaphysicians, because that's what I see everyone becoming. Everyone in here, I see you becoming adept metaphysicians. You will be masters of your own fate. You will understand exactly the thoughts that actually go into experiencing what you are experiencing. And you know, instead of getting upset about it, you just think new thoughts. You will be captains on your journey. So, I got an affirmation for everybody. All right, these are 3 statements, so everybody repeat after me. I take full responsibility for my thoughts. And I am willing to be mindful of the thought energy I create. All right, the next one is kind of long. I affirm the truth for myself and my brothers and sisters. That we are all on perfect journeys. For what we came to learn. And are doing our best with what we presently know. And the last one. I affirm that I am open and responsive to divine guidance. And I am willing to see and experience abundance in all forms. Brothers and sisters, you're going to be that light that your Father wanted God intended for you to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Fleming. It's now time for tithes and offerings. We'll do the abundance blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, it is so now. And now for our announcements. Electronic giving is at the front desk in the lobby. Just scan the QR code. Copies of today's service are available on CD at the front desk. You can find us on YouTube and also on Facebook. Next Sunday, August 18th, Reverend Fleming will be delivering the Sunday message. Is everyone signed signed up for the newsletter. If not, you should be, with so many wonderful things going on. You can see someone at the front desk, and they will hand you a card to fill out if you want to get signed up for that. There's also a QR code you can scan and do it electronically. Are there any new visitors who would like to stand up and say hello and introduce yourself?
I'm Jax. First time.
Hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
My name is Robin, and it's my first time here. Robin Ramos.
Hi,
Glad to be
Robin.
here.
I'm glad you're here. If you guys want, if you guys also want to fill out a welcome visitor card, that would be great. And we hope to see you again. We have prayer chaplains that are available after the service. Our chaplains will participate with you in prayer in a total confidentiality. They will be in the front of the altar. If you could please honor the sacred space in the sanctuary and reserve any after-service conversations and fellowship for the lobby or family room to honor the prayer chaplain. My name is Shanti, and I serve as a prayer chaplain. I'm also on the youth education team, and I'm also a platform speaker. It's okay. If anyone else is interested in sacred service opportunities, please see me. We'd love to get you signed up to be of service. We have positions available. And next, we're going to do our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. The Lord watches between me and thee while we are absent, one from another, and helps us to know we are all one in spirit through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. If we could all stand